There's a silent shift that begins in the eyes around age 50. You might notice the print in books getting harder to read, or that driving at night suddenly feels like peering through fog. But what's truly surprising is this. According to a groundbreaking study published in the Journal of Neuroscience, age vision decline isn't just a problem with the eyes, it's also a problem with the brain. That's right. The retina is actually brain tissue. It's an extension of your central nervous system, directly wired to your visual cortex. So when your eyesight begins to falter with age, it's not just about your lenses or corneas. It's also about how well your neurons are firing and how healthy your mitochondria are inside those cells. And here's where it gets fascinating. A single specific vitamin, one that's often overlooked, has been shown to dramatically slow and in some cases reverse this kind of neural visual decline. Not with surgery, not with expensive procedures, but through supporting the metabolic health of the retinal cells themselves. Why does this matter? Because vision isn't just about seeing clearly, it's about how you navigate the world, literally and psychologically. When your vision is compromised, your sense of confidence, independence, and even emotional regulation can take a hit. You may become more sedentary, less socially engaged, and more prone to cognitive decline. In fact, a 2021 review in Nature Aging found that visual impairment in older adults was directly linked to increased risk of depression, anxiety, and even accelerated dementia. That's how deep the brainy connection runs. But here's the empowering part. Science now shows that by targeting just one essential nutrient, one that directly fuels the photoreceptors in your retina, you can not only protect your eyesight, you may actually enhance the way your brain processes light, contrast, and motion well into your 60s, 70s, and beyond. This isn't a miracle pill. It's not about biohacking your way to superhero vision. It's about giving your nervous system what it biologically needs to function at its best, using proven tools from neuroscience, nutritional biochemistry, and aging psychology. So in this video, we're going to explore 6 powerful insights behind this one vision-saving vitamin. We'll cover the real reason eyesight starts to decline after 50 and what your retina needs most to prevent it, the specific vitamin that energizes your retinal mitochondria and protects against neurodegeneration, how your gut and brain influence this vitamin's absorption, and how to optimize both. A simple daily timing protocol that may dramatically boost its effectiveness, what common habits and foods block this vitamin and how to avoid them, and finally, how to combine this nutrient with light exposure and sleep timing for even stronger results. This isn't just about saving your vision, it's about preserving your independence, sharpness, and confidence as you age by understanding how your biology truly works. Let's begin. By the time you reach your 50s, your retina, the paper-thin layer of neural tissue at the back of your eye, has already processed over 1 billion images. It's constantly converting light into neural signals, relaying information to your brain about color, depth, motion, and contrast. But as the decades pass, something subtle yet critical begins to shift inside those retinal cells. Your mitochondria begin to falter. Now, mitochondria are often described as the power plants of your cells, but they're much more than that. In your retina, they're the engines that allow photoreceptors to recover and reset thousands of times per second. Each time light hits your eye, your rods and cones fire an electrical signal, and each of those firings requires massive amounts of cellular energy. That energy comes from mitochondrial respiration. Here's the catch. As you age, mitochondrial efficiency declines, and nowhere is this more impactful than in the retina, because this tissue has one of the highest metabolic demands in your entire body, even more than your brain's frontal cortex. A 2016 study in Progress in Retinal and Eye Research highlighted that mitochondrial dysfunction is a primary driver of age visual decline, particularly in night vision and motion detection. When these cellular engines slow down, your retinal neurons become less responsive. You might start to notice halos around lights while driving, reduced contrast in dim environments, or even that it takes longer to shift focus between near and far. What's happening in your brain during this? Your visual cortex, which interprets signals from your eyes, starts to receive degraded or delayed information. It's like trying to stream high-definition video over a dial-up connection. Your perception slows, and that impacts your balance, your reaction times, and your confidence when moving through the world. Now, here's where the science gets exciting. Research from the University of Georgia and the University of Westminster showed that supporting mitochondrial health in the retina, specifically by increasing levels of certain essential nutrients, can reverse some of these age declines. In particular, they studied a vitamin that restored energy metabolism in photoreceptor cells and improved contrast sensitivity in older adults. That vitamin is vitamin B2, also known as riboflavin. Riboflavin is essential for the production of flavin adenine dinucleotide, FAD, a molecule that's critical for mitochondrial function. Without adequate FAD, your cells can't produce ATP efficiently, and in the retina, that leads to sluggish visual processing and even cell death over time. One landmark 2020 study in Neuroscience found that older adults with higher riboflavin intake had significantly better retinal function and were less likely to develop early-stage macular degeneration. And what's more, riboflavin has a unique role in reducing oxidative stress in eye tissue, a key factor in preserving the integrity of your rods and cones. So let me ask you, when was the last time you even thought about riboflavin? It's one of those vitamins that rarely makes headlines, but it's absolutely essential to how your nervous system performs, especially the parts involved in vision. Yet many older adults fall short, particularly if they eat a low-protein or highly processed diet. And since riboflavin is water-soluble, your body doesn't store it, meaning you need a regular, consistent intake to support those retinal mitochondria every day. Here's a simple tool to begin with. Start by adding just one riboflavin-rich food into your first meal of the day. Foods like eggs, grass-fed liver, almonds, spinach, or wild-caught salmon are excellent sources. If you're considering a supplement, look for riboflavin 5-phosphate, the active form that your body can absorb more efficiently, especially as you age. The key idea here is this: vision loss after 50 is not inevitable. It's biological, and therefore it's influenceable. By supporting the energy engines inside your eyes, you're not just seeing more clearly, you're keeping your brain sharper, your movements more confident, and your world more vivid. Up next, we'll explore exactly how vitamin B2 works in the brain and retina, and what the neuroscience tells us about its role in neural regeneration and visual speed. Let's get right to it. Without vitamin B2 riboflavin, your eyes quite literally cannot function. This isn't just a matter of blurry vision or dry eyes. It's a fundamental breakdown in the way your visual system transmits and regenerates information. You see, vitamin B2 plays a central role in two of the most critical processes for maintaining vision: phototransduction and neural repair. Phototransduction is the process by which your retina turns light into electrical signals. Every time light enters your eye, it hits the photoreceptor cells, rods and cones, in the retina. These cells contain pigments like rhodopsin that must be constantly regenerated to function. That regeneration requires a steady supply of energy and antioxidant protection, both of which depend on FAD and FMN, the two active coenzymes derived from riboflavin. Let me give you a visual analogy. Imagine your photoreceptors as high-speed camera shutters, snapping thousands of frames every second to capture the world in real time. But over time, these shutters wear down. If you don't have the metabolic parts and lubrication, like riboflavin provide, those shutters stick, slow down, or jam. That's what happens in the aging retina when B2 levels decline. And the consequences extend far beyond the eyes. Neuroscientific studies show that poor visual input directly weakens brain regions involved in attention, spatial memory, and even emotional regulation. When your brain receives inconsistent or degraded visual signals, it creates more cognitive load. You use more mental resources to interpret the world, leaving you fatigued, foggy, and less resilient. Here's what the research shows. A 2019 paper published in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience found that older adults with sufficient levels of riboflavin performed significantly better on visual memory tasks and had faster reaction times in visual discrimination tests. And what's more, riboflavin supports neuroprotection. It helps prevent the accumulation of oxidative stress that leads to degenerative conditions like macular degeneration and even optic neuropathy. But there's another angle here that's rarely discussed, and it has to do with the brain's ability to adapt. Your visual system is part of what neuroscientists call a plastic network, meaning it can regenerate and reorganize itself, especially when given the right biochemical support. Vitamin B2 doesn't just maintain existing pathways, it may help rebuild damaged ones. Some early-stage trials suggest riboflavin can reduce retinal inflammation and support mitochondrial biogenesis, the creation of new energy-producing organelles in retinal cells. That means this vitamin is not just a maintenance tool, it's a performance enhancer for your visual brain. So, how do you ensure you're getting enough? Here's a practical protocol. Number 1, track your intake. The average adult over 50 needs at least 1.3 milligrams/day for men and 1.1 milligrams/day for women, but optimal levels for brain health may be closer to 2 to 3 milligrams/day, especially if you're experiencing signs of visual fatigue. Number 2, time your intake. And because riboflavin is water-soluble and absorbed in the small intestine, it's best taken with a morning meal that includes fat and protein to improve bioavailability. Try combining eggs and spinach or wild-caught salmon with sautéed mushrooms. Number 3, consider riboflavin 5-phosphate. This is the activated form that bypasses liver conversion, making it easier for aging bodies to utilize, especially important if you have issues with digestion, inflammation, or MTHFR gene variants that impair B vitamin metabolism. Now, let me ask you something. Have you noticed that your eyes feel tired more quickly when reading or using screens? Do bright lights seem harsher, or do you squint more in low light? These may be early signs that your visual system is metabolically stressed and that it's time to take nutritional support more seriously. If this insight is helping you, consider subscribing to the channel. We dive deep into the science that helps you optimize your brain, body, and habits, especially after 50, and we keep it practical so you always leave with a tool you can use. Now, we'll go deeper because there's a crucial step people overlook, whether your body can even absorb the vitamin you take. The gut-brain-A connection is real, and without fixing this link, all your efforts may fall short. It's one thing to consume the right vitamin. It's another thing entirely to absorb and use it. This is where the conversation around vision and vitamin B2 gets far more interesting and far more personal. Because the truth is, many people over 50 are not absorbing the nutrients they need, even if they're eating healthy or taking supplements. Let me explain why this matters with a neuroscience lens. Vitamin B2 is absorbed in the upper small intestine, primarily via transporters in the intestinal lining. But here's the catch. Absorption depends heavily on the health of your gut lining, your microbiome composition, and your vagus nerve function. The nerve that connects your gut to your brain and regulates digestion, nutrient absorption, and even inflammation. So what happens when your gut is compromised? A leaky or inflamed intestinal barrier can reduce the availability of vitamin B2 at the exact moment your brain and eyes need it most. In fact, studies show that people with IBS, chronic stress, or inflammatory conditions often have lower plasma levels of riboflavin, not because they're not consuming enough, but because they can't absorb it efficiently. Have you ever felt bloated, fatigued, or mentally foggy after eating, especially carbs or heavy meals? That might be a sign of poor vagal tone or compromised gut lining, both of which make it harder for the vitamins you consume to reach your cells. What's happening in your brain when this occurs is important. Your enteric nervous system, the brain in your gut, sends stress signals to your central nervous system, triggering a low-grade inflammatory state. This neuroinflammation can impair the retina, slow neurotransmitter production, and increase oxidative stress in the eye. That's why vision problems and gut problems often go hand in hand. Here's what the research shows. A 2020 study published in Nutrients found that individuals with gut dysbiosis, an imbalance of gut bacteria, had lower blood levels of not only riboflavin, but also other key antioxidants like glutathione. This matters because riboflavin is a cofactor for glutathione reductase, meaning it helps recycle the body's most powerful antioxidant, which is critical for retinal protection. In other words, poor gut health doesn't just block B2, it blocks your ability to use antioxidants that prevent macular damage and cognitive decline. But here's the empowering part. You can train your body to absorb better. And the process starts with supporting the gut-brain axis, the communication loop between your digestive system and your nervous system. Here's a simple protocol to enhance riboflavin absorption and vision supportive nutrient uptake. Number one, support your vagus nerve. Stimulate it daily through deep nasal breathing, cold exposure, splash cold water on your face in the morning, or humming and chanting, all shown to enhance gut motility and vagal tone. Number two, eat bitter foods before meals. Bitter compounds from arugula, dandelion greens, or a few drops of Swedish bitters can trigger gastric juices that help absorb B vitamins, especially B2. Number three, time your supplements correctly. Take riboflavin or a B complex with your largest protein-rich meal of the day, ideally lunch, when stomach acid is strong.